Ball on South 92. I'm with Nick, the Wrangler. And Nick, we have a treat here in our local area. Nick is followed by millions of people on TikTok. He's got over 500,000 on Facebook alone. Just a lot of people watching what you're doing, Nick. And Nick, you travel all around the world catching snakes.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I'm here in Arizona today to intentionally go out and find snakes. Like you said, this is what I do, Nick the Wrangler. My Instagram is one of my biggest platforms, and I put all my time and my energy to catch these animals, to spread some sort of awareness through a different and fascinating way. We had people like Steve Irwin and other people introducing animals to kids and even people our age in a more educational way. And
Thank you for saying our age, by the way. You notice how he was very generous.
And my way is a little more exciting because the generations are changing, and it's really hard to hold a kid's attention with information nowadays. So now I found a new way, and it works.
Huh,
Yeah.
Interesting. How did you get into doing this?
Let's see, when I was 9 years old, I was homeschooled. I lost it.
Oh, it's going down.
Yeah, you're good.
Here, I'm going to just get out.
No, you hold it. Yeah, I'll do it.
All right.
Camera guy, right?
Hey, by the way, John, this guy, local videographer right here, but now lives somewhere else. But anyway, you're here filming, right?
Yeah, I'm here filming him.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
That's awesome. We got a professional here.
Yeah.
And
So, let's see, where was I at?
so what got you started doing this whole thing? I mean, you're not that old.
No,
so
I'm 34 years old.
34.
So when I was 9 years old, I grew up in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
I was homeschooled, and I had a lot of extra time on my hands because I was such a smart kid, and I figured out how to do the curriculum in just like 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
So I had all this extra time, and I grew up with nothing but creeks and rivers and lakes and forests in my backyard.
Beautiful too in that part of the country. I've been up there.
It's gorgeous. The air's refreshing. The water you can drink right out of the streams. It's nice. And I was out there exploring and adventuring, and I was catching things like crawfish and salamanders. Anything that moved, anything that was trying to get away from me, I was trying to catch it and keep it in my possession. And there was this one time where I saw a snake. I had no idea what kind of snake it was, and the snake slithered off into these like tall, stocky plants. And I run headfirst into these tall, stocky plants, and I get my hand on this snake, and it starts biting on me, and I didn't know what to do. I started freezing up, and I was kind of scared first, just a split second. And then before I knew it, my whole body was on fire.
Wow.
From head to toe, I was on fire. Well, later on that day, I realized that I was running and chasing this snake through a patch of stinging nettles.
Oh.
I don't know if you're familiar with these stinging nettles.
I'm not.
It sucks. It is like being on fire. And it doesn't last forever. It's like 1 hour lasting burning, but you instantly go into welts. So here I am getting bit by the snake for the first time, holding a snake for my first time in my entire life.
Wow.
And that overwhelming amount of pain in my body like distracted me from the idea that this snake that I'm holding is scary. And I instantly fell in love. Like, that's just how it began.
Wow. How unusual that is. Interesting.
Yeah, so...
And so that's how you started. And then from there, so the snake wasn't venomous, I guess. It was the nettles.
It turned out to be a garter snake.
Okay. All right.
Fortunate enough for us, they're not harmless. They're harmless to us pretty much. But they do have a mild toxin in their saliva. A lot of people don't understand that garter snakes do possess a mild toxin, and they chew that toxin into their prey. And they devour their prey after that toxin kind of just like paralyzes them.
Okay.
But we're okay. We get a little itchy rash here and there, but we're pretty much fine. But after that, where the passion really grew was this one day, and I'm watching TV, 9 years old, and I see this crazy guy on TV going, "Good day, crikey." You already know who that was, right?
Oh, yeah. Steve Irwin.
Steve-O.
Yeah.
And I instantly was hooked. I wanted to be just like that guy. So I took a shoebox, and I took a Sharpie, and I drew a camera on that shoebox, and I would walk around with a shoebox and a pillowcase and a stick, and I'd pretend I was him. And I'd take that camera, shoebox, and I'd put it up in trees and set it up on rocks, and I would be talking to this imaginary camera, pretending I was him, catching everything in my backyard.
Really?
And
Okay.
I'd bring them to the creeks in my backyard, brought everything in as close as I could, and it just progressed from there.
You were a natural.
I thought I was a natural.
Yeah.
But turns out I am. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
34 years old, and I'm still doing it, and I love it every day.
So when did you start doing this for a living?
For a living, let's see, if we fast forward, about 10, 15 years, I was about 23 years old. I was working in the film industry in Las Vegas. I was working with one of the most successful music video production companies. We were doing music videos for artists like Chris Brown, Lil Wayne, a lot of artists, Justin Bieber. We were doing these music videos. Well, we had camera gear. And I remember during this time, I'm living in LA, shacked up in a penthouse with 10 other guys, living the LA life. And I was like, shoot, we have a camera. I told my best friends, like, Taylor, I'm gonna take one of these cameras out. I'm gonna go film. There's rattlesnakes in California. I've never found a rattlesnake before. I think I was 23 or 22, and I went up in this mountain range with this camera, someone to film me, and I found a rattlesnake. And I documented it, and I did it naturally. It came naturally. That kid at 9 years old talking to a shoebox came out of this growing child at 21 years old, or 22 years old, and I'm editing the video, and I'm watching myself, and I just get emotional, overwhelmed in emotions, and I'm like, holy shoot, this is me, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm working with all these cool, incredible people, traveling all over the U.S., making videos and doing cool stuff that people would dream of. I was a stuntman. I was doing a lot of stuff in L.A.
Oh, wow.
And I just dropped it cold turkey and said, I'm going to chase this dream, and I'm going to do this. This is what I want to do. You know, it didn't happen overnight. About 3 to 4 years later, after posting on social media, making Instagram, doing all the stuff, I started collecting a little bit of income from this. And it wasn't a lot, but I started. And then 2-3 years later, before I knew it, I started getting like opportunities, getting big checks, getting brand deals. And now here I am with 1.3 million people on Instagram, and it's still growing. And I started YouTube. I started a YouTube channel. Like, I was doing that YouTube at that time in LA, and I stopped because I got so monomyonically focused on Instagram and only Instagram. That's why it's one of my biggest platforms, and I neglected everything else. So I just started a YouTube channel maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and I already have almost 200,000 subscribers on there.
Cool.
Man, people are loving it. I'm getting a lot of good engagement, so I'm taking all my traffic over there. But the interesting thing is I've never advertised my YouTube on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook.
What is your YouTube channel, by the way?
Nick the Wrangler TV.
Nick the Wrangler TV on YouTube. I think we have the Facebook link, but look for Nick the Wrangler on Instagram. That's your biggest platform.
Yes.
TikTok, you've got millions.
No,
right?
TikTok, I think I have like 500,000.
500,000?
Yeah.
500,000 on Facebook,
right.
I believe.
But
and you're getting 250,000 now on YouTube in a few weeks, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, for me, those are just numbers.
Yeah.
What's really important to me are like the people who you can't see behind this camera. The fans, you know, the people who are supporting me. I always tell people, I might have 1 million followers, but really, I don't really care as much about those followers. I care about the fans. You know, those 200, 300 solid fans who are there to support me, that comment on me, support me, check on me when I'm not posting. Hey, Nick, are you alive? You haven't posted in 3 days. I'm just checking to see if you're alive. Those are the people that I do this for.
All right.
Right.
Cool. Very cool. Well, Nick, I feel there's something kind of moving around back here.
Yeah.
What?
That's because before you called me, I was up in the mountains and I was catching rattlesnakes.
I can hear the rattle. Can you hear that?
Yeah. So, I was catching some rattlesnakes. This is a tiger rattlesnake, and a lot of people know about these. These are western diamondback rattlesnakes. The most common rattlesnake that you can find in Arizona. And they are found everywhere.
Wow.
Sometimes I get tired of seeing them because they're so common. But I can take them out for you guys, and I'll show you. And I have another surprise that I was surprised too with as well, that I had no clue I was going to be seeing today.
Okay. All right. Well, let's check it out.
Let's start with the surprise. Who was it that caught it? You caught it? No, I don't think you caught it. I think he took off. Oh, right here.
Oh,
right here.
Oh, yeah.
The help of the boss man, actually.
The manager of Hidden Treasures right here.
Yeah.
All right.
We got a photo about, I want to say an hour or two ago, of a rattlesnake that was coiled up. Was it at this building?
No, it was at his house. He had the Cox guy there, and he went in to open the closet and said, nope.
Yeah. So, it turned out to be, which I was catching these the other night, up in the mountains, high elevations at nighttime.
At nighttime?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I'm going to just, if you could step back just a little bit. These are venomous. It's a pit viper. They have a hemotoxic venom. And so we don't want to have any issues here. But luckily for this species of rattlesnake, once he comes out of the bag, He's being a little shy. There he is.
Yeah.
Really beautiful snake here. But luckily, like I was saying, for this species of rattlesnake, they're fairly docile. You notice one thing? He's not rattling. Okay?
No, he's not.
His tail.
Wow.
He's not puffing his tongue. He's just flicking his.
Oh, look at that.
Not puffing his body. He's flicking his tongue out of curiosity, observing his surroundings, tasting the air. Show all the kids over here. So the Latin name for this snake is called Crotalus molosus. I mean, it's a bunch of mumbo jumbo for a lot of people. The common name is black-tailed rattlesnake. Well, you take a look at his tail.
Wow.
You see, he has that nice, unique black tail.
He sure does.
Throughout his body, he had these super dark saddles. Set him on the ground. All the way throughout his body in this really nice, vibrant yellow. It looks like the snake is probably going to be shedding soon. He's looking really pale. So his color's not popping as much as I would like for them to pop. I like everything shiny and bright. It's still a really beautiful snake. So these snakes, they have hinged fangs. Rattlesnakes, just like all vipers, they have hinged fangs. So these fangs, they're a lot longer than like a cobra's fangs, and they're not fixed. So they fold back inside of their mouth, up against the roof of their mouth. And when they open their mouth to strike at prey or a predator, they fold out. And these fangs are hypodermic-like. And they go into the flesh of their animal or a predator, and they inject this venom. It's a hemotoxic venom. And it's not gonna, I don't want to use the kill word, but it's not going to. It's just gonna be really, really painful. The scary thing is like kids or people who don't know they have an allergy to like bee venom. A bee is not going to kill somebody, but if you are allergic to anaphylactic shock, will. And it's the same situation with these snakes. This snake is really docile. The last thing that they want to do is strike. Last thing they want to do is bite somebody. A lot of people believe that snakes are aggressive. I'm sure you've heard this before, right? It is one of my goals as, a wrangler and a wildlife educator to teach people that these snakes, they're not aggressive. They are defensive. They have a very defensive nature, okay? That's what they want to do. They want to protect themselves, protect their bodies. They don't want to use up that venom on us. They want to use that venom on their prey. They don't have muscles like a boa constrictor or a python or a king snake to constrict their prey. They rely on that venom to neutralize their prey.
Okay, so they don't want to be defenseless and use up all their venom, let's say, if we come along and we're not really a threat to them. They don't want to just chase after and use up their venom.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay,
it takes
making sense.
Up to a week or two for them to reproduce their venom. And since you're on the subject of venom is a modified saliva. So like the spit in your mouth. Venom, that's all it is. It's a cocktail of proteins and enzymes. So there's such high concentrations of these proteins and enzymes that our blood, we don't have the sugar molecules in our blood to break down those proteins. When someone's bodybuilding, Keanu knows, he's a gym rat. The one thing they do is up their protein and drop their sugars, because the sugars break down those proteins so their muscles don't grow. Well, our bodies, we don't have the sugar molecules to break down that protein fast enough, so we suffer from severe side effects. So
now, you found this snake last night, was it?
I did not find this.
Oh, this was the one that came from
a
few hours.
Just a few hours ago.
Okay. So
I thought, look, he still has he was up against a cactus or something, it looks like.
Oh, wow.
Thorns
Okay.
from a cactus.
Yeah.
Just saved him from that.
Okay.
But look, he's really relaxed.
He is. He's a chill dude. He's not.
So that's the thing. Unfortunately, we have things like the media. We have things like movies, TV shows, stuff like that want to demonize these animals. Mm-hmm. All right? Like I said, they're animals. They're just like everything else with a life. They have a heartbeat. My goal is to turn people's fears of these animals into a fascination.
Gotcha.
It's a massive goal of mine, because you've got movies like the Anaconda. These snakes aren't hunting us. They're not chasing us. If this snake was warm up, sitting in the sun, and we were walking by, I guarantee it, I'm sure he can back me up on this. This snake didn't rattle, it didn't move, it didn't do anything. It just wanted to sit there and pretend it didn't exist. All right? Now, there are other snakes that's really common, like one back here, like the western diamondback, that has a more defensive nature. Well, this is a higher elevation. The black-tailed rattlesnake is a higher elevation snake. which they have cooler body temps. They're fairly more relaxed. Western Diamondbacks are a lower elevation snake. They're higher body temp, and they don't have as much cover as shelter like you do in the mountains. So their natural instinct is to be more defensive because they can't hide. They can't coil up. You know, you might have a few plants and bushes, rocks and stones to hide, but they're gonna be a little bit more defensive and louder and prouder about being a rattlesnake. This snake, I don't even think he knows he's venomous.
You know, he's checking me out a little bit there, and I've never been checked out that I know of by a rattlesnake before, so this is unique. But you know, Nick, just talking to you has put me at ease actually around the snake. I don't feel any particular way about this snake other than just kind of fascinated actually, like you were saying.
This snake's not a pet. And you're just saying, 3 hours ago he was sitting in the wild. He was found behind a shed.
Right, doing his thing.
Yeah, he was just relaxed. He just wanted to find a place to find a meal.
And I should keep them as pets.
You can. I do not recommend it. It's just not something I recommend. I recommend keeping something non-venomous.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a big fan of colubrids. There's a lot of colubrids here in Arizona. Let me go set this snake away.
Okay.
Look, Senior just popped up behind us. We didn't have to use the
Wow, look at that. Well, he was very friendly, no rattling or anything.
Right. So that was the black-tailed rattlesnake,
okay.
Molosis. It's one of my favorite snakes here in Arizona. My second favorite snake in Arizona is right here. The reason why it's my second favorite is because when I was a kid, the first rattlesnake I saw Steve Irwin get excited about catching was one of these snakes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, and there we go. And this one was rattling.
This one is rattling.
That was what I heard behind me.
All right.
Oh, and there's a baby one in there.
Yeah, there is a baby.
So, wow. Look at that. A little.
So I catch these snakes and then I make my videos and then I release them.
Have you gotten bit before?
I have been bit, unfortunately.
You have?
Yes,
okay.
I have.
So
What does it feel like?
I got bit by a sidewinder rattlesnake. It's called a Crotalus cerastus. And the best way to describe the pain of that bite is the burning sensation was like sticking my hand in a bucket full of hot coals. The pressure from the swelling was like someone parking a car on top of my hand. And then that throbbing sensation is like someone smacking my hand with a hammer every time my heart would beat. And all of this was happening simultaneously for about a week straight because I didn't go to the hospital.
Wow.
And is that full grown right there or a baby too?
This is an adult Crotalus tigris, the tiger rattlesnake. If you look, you can see the bands on his body. All right. So something really unique about this snake. If you notice, see how small its head is. Look how tiny his head is.
But they could widen.
But if you notice one thing, he's got a smaller head. The snake I had was a larger head. Well, this snake predominantly feeds on cold-blooded reptiles like lizards.
Oh, okay.
So they have a smaller head. Throughout evolution and time, their head has evolved into something a lot smaller. You notice how it's not trying to rattle anymore?
Yeah.
He's trying to just get away. He's looking at me like shelter. You see how pretty he is though, with those pinks and those reds?
Yeah, you can see that hue on the side of him down there. It's
and that orange tail.
Yeah.
And then here you see those bands, like a tiger.
Yeah.
That's how it gets its name, the tiger rattlesnake.
Okay,
like
gotcha.
I was saying, because the snake predominantly feeds on cold-blooded reptiles, they possess a more potent venom.
Okay. So if you did get bit by this dude,
you're going to want to go straight to the hospital and not try to tough it out like I did. Now, when I got bit, I was younger and dumber. Now I'm older and a little less dumb. Okay?
What did you do? Did you just try to toughen it out? Did you eventually go to the...
No, I did not. Now I don't mess around with it. This is my livelihood. Back then it was just a hobby of mine. Now handling snakes, it's my job, it's my livelihood, and it's a long life passion. Johnny, you scared him.
I did. I was scared.
So that's the tiger rattlesnake, and if you see here, different species of rattlesnake, but still, its demeanor is non-defensive.
Yeah, he's just trying to get away.
This is a snake that lives in the mountains, cooler temperatures, higher elevations.
And you found him now?
Yes, I did.
This was last night when you were up. Look, okay.
Yeah, so I go out at nighttime, I find him, I filmed him in the daytime. The only reason why I haven't released him yet is because I knew I was going to be doing this with you.
Okay.
So I usually film them the next morning, and then I release them right back where I found them.
And you can find those here?
Yes, this is a native snake to Arizona, the Crotalus tigris tiger rattlesnake. Really pretty snake.
Where did you find that one?
This is up, where was I? Mount Hopkins area. Yes. So kids, you move and don't walk closer, but because he's being nice, I'll show him to you a little bit. You see him?
No, it's interesting. I also do a road trip series called Roads to Adventure. It's brand new, and I was in Texas, West Texas, on US 90, and there was a couple of people at this stop looking for snakes, and they were going out at night, coming out from San Antonio to just check out snakes. And so it's interesting that here we are, and you doing that for a living.
Gold, copper color too. Yes, it's a very pretty snake.
Wow. That is something else.
So here we go. We'll go ahead and put this one away. You saw the baby.
Yeah.
Everybody likes babies. They're cute. So I held on to hammer her to kind of.
Now, were they separate so they don't know each other? Or
No,
same?
They have no idea who each other is right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
But they were found on the same road, on the same mountain, and that's exactly where they're going to go back.
Okay, cool. Wow. Nick, really cool. Thank you for showing us. And now you got what you were talking about before, another rattlesnake.
This is the Western Diamondback rattlesnake.
Okay.
All right. So it's a hit or miss with these snakes. 70% of the time, they will not let you be as close as you are right now. So you probably will have to get back just a little bit.
Oh, okay, sure.
70% of the time, they're extremely defensive. Right. It's not them being aggressive. It's just in their nature to just be sporadic and strike a lot and rattle. I've been fortunate with this one, and this is the only one I've seen on this trip so far that hasn't really acted like that, but it could change.
Okay, so, good to know.
The Latin name for this snake is called Crotalus atrox, but this is a very pretty snake, and this one was actually found in a higher elevation, so it's not found down in the lower levels of the desert. So if you see, it's a lot darker.
Oh yeah.
And those diamonds are more prominent and golden. So here we go.
And he's got a wide head as well.
Yes, because these snakes, there's a truck coming.
Wait till the truck goes by. We got a little bit of a crowd here, by the way.
Yeah. So I have my snake-proof boots on, so don't be worried.
Yeah.
I always have them on. So this one seems to be more relaxed. It's not trying to act like Diamondbacks that I'm used to, but that could change. And we'll try to keep his temperament down a little bit. You see that golden hue and that orange is down his body, all the way down to his tail. That's not that common with the Western Diamondbacks here. Usually they're more gray and just like a dusty, gravelly look. This is a really, really nice Western Diamondback rattlesnake. When you come down here, they have this raccoon-like tail. We'll spin him around.
Oh, yeah.
So you have a few rattlesnakes that have this raccoon-like tail. Down here where we're at Sierra Vista, there are the Mojave rattlesnake, the green Mojave. Are you familiar with it?
I am not, Nick. No,
and
not.
then you have the Western
He is trying to get to me.
Actually, he's probably looking at you thinking you're a bush or some sort of shelter. He doesn't want to be out in the open.
Oh, okay.
Snakes don't like to be out in the open because up above them we have birds.
Gotcha.
And birds of prey will eat them, and they don't like that. They feel like they're at a disadvantage and they're vulnerable. Although they possess a venom, they still feel like they're threatened, and that's why they want to be defensive. But look at this.
Wow.
This is a wild snake that was captured last night.
And did you just capture it with that stick?
Yes, in my hands, and that's it. So
Wow.
he was just captured last night, and he's not acting like the Diamondback that I'm used to handling.
Huh.
That's
calm,
interesting. He's not rattling. He's fairly relaxed.
What do you think that is, and why he's so much more vibrant looking?
I was saying, in my experience, I think it's because of the mountains. Every snake that I find up in the mountains is a lot calmer, a lot more relaxed.
Huh. Interesting.
I'm not sure why, but every snake that I find down in the lower levels are just insane.
Interesting. Okay.
It doesn't matter where I'm at. They're just a little bit more like a rattlesnake, the ones that we're used to.
So, like real estate people say, location, location, location. Same with it.
So take a look here. Here's something really interesting I haven't really said much about. Everybody see it's rattle. Okay, well this rattle is made out of keratin. Same thing our hair, our fingernails are made of. It's called keratin. And people believe that these rattles are full of beads. I don't know if any of you believe that, but they're not. They are hollow and very fragile. If you notice, I'm not holding them by his rattle because I don't want to crush it. I can crunch it with just 2 fingers without a lot of pressure, and they break off. It has been a myth busted that you can count the buttons and the segments on the rattle to determine the age. This snake, I would probably say, is maybe 2 years old, but I'm looking at 8 or 9 segments. If you look at the tip of his tail, there's a part that's broken off.
Okay.
So you can't really tell. What happens is each one of these segments, you see this really dark black one right there.
Yeah.
Well, this one right here comes in every time the snake sheds. And then the second one comes in up here. So every 2 sheds, it produces a new segment. Well, these snakes, they don't shed once a year. Sometimes they'll shed twice a month. Sometimes they'll shed every month or twice a year, depending on how fast they're growing and how much they're eating. And when they shed, they grow out of their skin. They don't grow with their skin. So snakes, when they're growing underneath a layer of skin. And they get uncomfortable in that old skin, and they need to wiggle out and produce a new skin. And that whole shed comes out all in one piece.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And really pretty snake.
How old will rattlesnakes get, like this Western Diamondback?
Western Diamondbacks in the wild, they don't get to live as long as they do in captivity. In the wild, you'll get 7-10-year-old snakes, sometimes a little bit older. But in captivity, I've seen them living over 15 years old.
Wow. Okay.
How old in captivity?
15. I've seen them over 15 years old.
So their life can double.
I know they can live longer, but in my experience, I like to speak from experience, especially when it comes to snakes. Yeah. It's a really gorgeous Western Diamondback rattlesnake, Protolis atrox.
Wow. I'm glad he's staying right there now.
Yeah. Well, they have heat-sensitive pits, too, so if anybody, I don't know if kids are familiar with it, but if you are, we're best friends. If you're familiar with the movie Predator, or ever looked through a forward-looking infrared camera like FLIR, they see thermal images.
Oh, okay.
So even if the snake didn't have eyes or was in the pitch black, it can see a thermal image from a rodent. So right now, standing in front of him, you're glowing to him.
Wow, okay.
He's not seeing much of a shape, he's seeing glowing through these heat-sensitive pits between his nostrils and his eyeballs.
Wow.
Right? And he's flicking his tongue out right now. And what he's doing when he flicks his tongue out, he's picking up air particles. And those air particles stick to his tongue. And he's not only tasting his environment, but he's seeing his environment. By taking those particles in the air, there's an organ at the top of his mouth called the Jacobson organ. And that organ takes the and turns it into it transmits these electronic signals to its brain saying, hey, this is food, this is dangerous, this is the direction I want to be. And what's really unique with this flicking of the tongue is that when they bite their prey, they don't hold on. But when they bite their prey, they inject that venom and they can smell the enzymes in their venom and track their prey for up to a mile just with, and they will find their prey.
A mile. They will track prey for a mile. Isn't that amazing?
So that venom
it's a lot of slithering.
Neutralizes their prey. The prey will be deceased somewhere, and they'll go follow it and swallow it. And that venom is already starting the digestive process. Snakes don't chew their food. So they have strong stomach acids, and luckily the rattlesnakes have these venoms to start that digestive process a lot sooner than a non-venomous snake.
Wow.
So when you get bit by a snake, you're getting digested a little bit.
Ooh, wow, okay. And I'm sure that's painful.
Hence the why people's fingers die and rot off.
Ah, okay.
He's a little sporadic now.
He is, yeah.
So, yeah.
He's pretty quick.
Western Diamondback rattlesnake. I do have something that's non-venomous.
Really, a non-venomous snake? Okay. Well.
If Kiana wants to grab it.
And yeah, it's just he really. Can you tell the difference if there's a he or a she?
Yes, you can.
Huh? I mean, how do you do
Look at
that?
his tail right here. You see on his tail, it's a lot. So you see this. This is its cloaca. Birds have a cloaca. It possesses its organs and its butt, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
So inside of it, everything comes out, pops up. Well, the males have a longer tail because males, they have something called a hemipenis. So they have 2 male organs.
Wow.
Lucky them, right?
Yeah, I guess.
2 male organs.
Double the trouble.
So their tail is longer and fatter to store those organs.
Interesting.
Females, their tails are shorter and thinner.
Okay.
Because they don't need to store those organs. So it's really easy with rattlesnakes.
Look for a big tail, huh?
Where does the tail start?
So if you look at the bottom of that, see how the raccoon tail, the circles, white and black circles? The tail starts right at the bottom of that. So that's where its cloaca is. Yeah. You guys want to see them? Don't touch them. I know you want to.
favorite. I like snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite snake.
The diamondback?
Yeah.
They're really awesome snakes.
My favorite is the hognose.
I was just out looking for them today and didn't find them.
I love diamondbacks. I just love how they don't take lip from anybody.
All right, we'll put them away.
I've never seen this. I don't know.
Here's a non-venomous snake. So someone you could just take out for lunch and.
So this is a really young, probably a yearling gopher snake. Non-venomous colubrid. The Latin name is Pitiophis catinifer. It's a little tongue twister.
That is quite the name.
These snakes reach lengths of up to 7 feet. It's really rare that you find them at 7 feet, but they can reach up to 7 feet long.
Wow. And it, you know, for a casual, someone like me that were to just look at that back, you might think that's a rattlesnake.
Exactly. It's like the hognose she was mentioning. Like the hognose, they have a pattern similar to a prairie rattlesnake. And it's a way of being, it's a defense mechanism, okay? Some snakes are aposomatic. Aposomatic's a big word for people who don't know. It's basically an animal using vibrant colors and patterns to look dangerous. Say, hey, back off, leave me alone. I don't want to be messed with. I'm venomous. You know?
Yeah.
So this pattern is a way to fend off and say, hey, I'm dangerous. I look like a rattlesnake, but they're not. Also, it's for camouflage.
So if a predator were to see that sitting on a rock, they would have thought it was a deadly diamondback and would not want to mess with it?
No, I don't think that would be the case at all. I don't think that would be the case with the gopher snakes because birds of prey and predators out here, they have a tolerance to venom. So they're not really too concerned. There are some animals that have learned to stay away from them. But roadrunners, birds, bobcats, coyotes, they're still going to try to eat rattlesnakes. You know, in Texas.
See an owl do it.
Yeah. See, in Texas, the hogs, you won't see a rattlesnake around if you have hogs.
Interesting.
The hogs will eat up the rattlesnakes.
That's crazy. And coyotes too?
Yes.
Interesting. Had no idea. So, you know, dogs sometimes you hear around here will, you know, get bitten by a rattlesnake and you know, there's a fair amount that actually live through that.
Right.
Tell me, how do they manage to live? And they're so much smaller than a human.
Well, like I was saying, there are animals that have a tolerance to the venom, just like horses. So canines are naturally like they start with the wolves, for example. Wolves, they have that tolerance. So that's been passed down through all this breeding. That our pet dogs, our domestic pets, they have a tolerance. Cats as well. So when they get bit, when they go to the vet, they don't need as much anti-venom as we do. They maybe need to be treated one time with some anti-venom. They go home, they're fine.
Okay.
With us, we get treated with anti-venom, and sometimes the anti-venom just doesn't stop coming.
Gotcha.
And it's not cheap.
Yeah.
It's not cheap at all. But yeah, you guys want to touch them? I know you do.
There was a gentleman that owned a restaurant just down the road from here, the Mesquite Tree. It's no longer open, but Mesquite Tree. I'm sorry. And
actually, I think this snake was hurt before I caught him.
Oh wow.
It was hurt?
We are gonna have to keep him in captivity for a little bit. So what happens is I find these snakes in the road, and unfortunately, when they're in the road, they get nicked by cars. This is where I find all the snakes. I go hiking around. Sometimes I don't find him, but at nighttime I find him in the road. He looks really active. He looks like he's doing fine, but I just noticed a little bit of DNA. So I'm going to put him away. I don't want to hurt him anymore, and I'm going to have to just keep him hydrated and see how he does before I release him. I'm going to be here for a couple more days, and I'll make sure he gets some water, and then I'm going to release him back. So he's probably going to stay with me for a little bit. But unfortunately, half of the snakes I find are ran over by cars. And it sucks, but most people aren't trained to look at the cars in front of them. Most people aren't trained to look at like the first 15, 20 feet in front of them. We're trained to look farther down the road. Well, we don't have enough time to react and see the snakes, and we hit them. It's like a skunk or a raccoon jumping in front of our car or a squirrel.
Sure.
We don't have time to react because we don't see them coming.
And snakes are very important for the environment. They keep the rodent population down to the point where rats aren't coming through your house.
Yeah, well, snakes are our natural pest control.
And then
very important.
And then there's other snakes that take care of the other snakes.
Yeah, and not just that, but they're eating the rats and the rodents that have diseases, that have ticks. So the more we have snakes, the less we're exposed to disease, fleas, and ticks, because these snakes are eating those infested animals.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So
it
they
looks
are.
like she's doing well. So
yeah.
Put some water in the city, and maybe just got nicked by something. But blood coming from the mouth is not a good sign.
Hmm.
Yeah. Good thing we did catch her.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll put her right here. Oh yeah.
Wow, Nick. So you really have become an expert in snakes and education. Where can people where's your next stop after here?
I will be going to Florida. I've been in a long distance relationship from Texas with a girl in Florida, and helping her build her nonprofit. It's Wildlife Wonderland.
Okay.
And she just moved to a new location, and very soon I'll be living there at that location with my animals there too.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
I'll be in Florida, and between building and hanging out with her animals and making videos with her, I will be making videos with the snakes that are in the area.
So you live in Texas then?
Yes, sir.
Where at in
Just
Texas?
outside of Houston and Conroe.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Plan to be heading there myself. I travel around doing the road trips with a couple of dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Winston is a big chow, and he came from Houston. Chow Chow Connection, the biggest chow rescue in the country.
Oh,
and
nice.
So we need to stop by and say hi out
you're
there.
a dog lover.
I am.
And a snake lover now.
And then snake lover now, Nick. Yeah. Well, I hope to run across your path again. It'd be
absolutely.
exciting to meet you. Thank you very much.
Are we done here, or are we going to keep on? Looks like everybody. Snakes are gone. Kids are gone.
I guess the crowd is diminishing. So, but
yeah.
Oh, you have a question. All right.
I've always heard that if you release a snake back out into the environment and it's not in its natural environment, that it won't survive because it won't know where its food source is. Is that true?
Okay, so what you're talking about is it's called the homing sense. That's what they like to call it.
Okay.
And it's not always true. It
Okay.
depends on the species of animal. It's mainly, for example, when they were catching mountain lions in California and Arizona, and they were releasing them back into Florida to try to bring the panther population back up, they naturally wanted to start walking back towards the west coast, and they're getting hit by cars. Well, with reptiles, that's not necessarily true, because we get a lot of snakes that wander, like this one that we had here. I don't know if you saw it. They wander into people's yards, into people's properties.
Yeah, I was at my house this morning.
Right. It was your house.
It was my house.
So, well, hey, lucky you, and thank you. That was exciting. So that snake, we don't know where it came from, and that snake wandered from the mountains and worked its way all the way down to your backyard. So these snakes, they do cover a lot of ground.
Right.
When they're looking for a mate, they're looking for food, or looking for new shelter. So when we relocate a snake, we try to find a habitat where they belong.
Okay.
And then we try to find the habitat that has all the things that they need, like food and shelter. And we release them, and they usually do fine.
Okay. Okay. Because I was just kind of worried about him, because I was always told if you go take it to a different environment, it won't know its food source and it'll die.
Yeah, you don't want to take.
He's gonna stay in your yard. Sorry.
Yeah, you don't want to. Right, you don't want to take a western diamondback rattlesnake and drive it up into the top of the mountains at 6,000-7,000 elevation and release it. That's not where they belong. That's why we do our research and we figure out, well, where these snakes belong and where they're most common.
And if the
So
snake,
when we release them near other snakes just like them.
Okay.
And they usually do fine.
and if the snake don't like it, it can leave.
They will wander.
Okay.
But they will do fine. Their natural instinct kicks in.
Okay.
They will eat. Because snakes in captivity, they started in the wild at some point. And so if we catch a snake in the wild, we bring it home, we're able to feed it and keep it alive, and it does just fine. These snakes, when they get moved into a new area, they're going to find the food, and they will survive. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
It's usually with mammals.
Okay.
You know, like our dogs. They wander and they disappear for 3 days, but for some reason they find themselves back on our back porch.
Yeah.
They know.
I love snakes.
Yeah. Well, me too, and I'm glad that you guys came to hang out. Really excited.
Well, thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have a ball python on my
Nice.
house. He's 4 years old right now.
Nice. That's a good snake to have. My girlfriend has lots of them.
I want a snake. However, my mom and dad are imminent on me not getting one until I move out. However, I do watch a lot of movies, like you mentioned, The Anaconda. I do love those movies. I 50-50 about the way they feature the snakes, but I just watch it for the snake.
Yeah, exactly. It's exciting. That was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid too. And I wanted to find an anaconda as big as that one. One day I'll be out there and I'll find it.
Just make sure it's fed already.
You gotta go to Florida.
Yeah, Florida's beautiful. That's where I'm going.
There's
right
a
after this.
lot of snakes in
My
Florida.
favorite snake specifically is a snow albino hognose snake.
You found albino?
An albino hognose snake is my favorite.
Oh yeah.
She wants one so bad.
Hognoses are cute little snakes.
I love how they just play dead as their defense mechanism.
Drama queen.
Yeah, the drama.
All right. Well,
So-
everybody, I appreciate you guys hanging out, and I think you guys have one more question before we sign out. So let's.
I do, Nick. I've seen the black mamba snake. I know they're not from around here. They're in Africa, I understand. Do they actually chase after, like raise up and chase after people?
Okay, so that's the Latin name for that is Dendroaspis polylepis.
Okay.
And I actually have those as pets.
Do you
I
really?
have pet king cobras. I have green mambas.
Wow.
I have vipers from all over the world.
Wow.
Black mambas. There's one snake that I will say is possibly aggressive, and I really use that word very lightly when it comes to snakes. I always want to educate people. Snakes, they're defensive. They're not aggressive. Mambas, on the other hand, in some cases, they have chased people.
Okay.
We don't know why they're chasing people. I don't know if they're just being protective of that territory. But the thing with a mamba is, in the bush in Africa, all right, their venom is so potent that you have about 30 minutes to live after the bite.
So there's no hope once you get bitten by one of
hope.
those.
So with the western diamondback rattlesnakes, or the rattlesnakes that I showed you, one of the symptoms from their venom is severe pain. Well, in the bush in Africa, you could be walking through the trees and get scratched by a branch, or you feel like you got scratched by a branch, and you don't know that you got bit by a mamba until you stop breathing.
Ooh. Wow.
Okay? So their venom shuts down your nervous system. It's a neurotoxic venom, and they have no pain at all in their venom. So the mambas, it's a really scary snake, and they're rated one of the most venomous snakes in the world. They're number 10 on the list as most venomous snake in the
Oh,
world.
wow. Okay. So
But
there's more venomous.
Even the ones that I had as pets, I see them just opening their mouth and striking in the air just over and over and over again, and I can be 20 feet away.
Wow.
I know someone who recently got bit by a black mamba, and black mambas, when they bite, they don't just bite once, they bite multiple times as fast as they can in one single strike.
Ooh.
And he got bit 3 times in one strike.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, they're really, really defensive, but there is an aggressive nature when you're in their territory.
And he didn't live then, I guess.
Oh, he lived, but
He
if
did?
he gets stung by a bee again and it affects his heart, he's not going to live.
Ooh, wow.
It really messed him up.
Oh, man. Wow.
Mhm.
So Nick, I mean, you got some gonads, as they say, right? To go out there, you're dealing with
Yeah,
all these
I've
different
heard
kinds, all these different snakes, and so what snake though are you most fearful of, or are you fearful of any snake?
No, there's really no fear. Keanu loves this, you know. There is a fear. It's a natural, healthy fear, okay? Because that fear that I have is what keeps me from getting bit by snakes, you know. Like, that fear, if I go in there and I'm handling these venomous snakes, and I go in there fearless and handling them like they are not going to hurt me and I'm just invincible, I'm going to get bit, you know. But if I go there with a healthy fear in the back of my mind, always knowing that, look, if I get bit, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So when I get bit, it's going to be bad news, and there's going to be some severe symptoms. All right? So that's why I handle these snakes the way that I do. I don't just go up and pick a rattlesnake up and like, oh, look at you, cute little rattlesnake, you know, thinking I'm invincible. Because I have a fear that when I get bit, it's going to be bad.
Gotcha.
You know, there are snakes out there that, you know, get my blood pumping a little bit, but it's more of like an excitement and healthy adrenaline. But I'll never not handle that snake and try to catch that snake and chase it down, because I love what I do.
All right, well, that is Nick the Wrangler, folks.
Yes.
Look for him and subscribe to his channels wherever, if you prefer Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Nick the Wrangler.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, well, thank you. And that's all for me, Brett Allen, live and local here for Cool FM Online. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy your weekend, holiday weekend.